done with us.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Shalom Uvracha. We are Amud Lamed Tet, right? In Perek Revi'i. And we have, we have learned from the Rambam, yes, the importance of differentiating the two extremes of one midah, yes, identify them in order to understand what is the balance between the two, which is called a good trait, the good midah. And any extreme or close to the extremity becomes is a bad midah. And the closer you get to an extremity, and it becomes a bad midah. So it says like this: והרבה פעמים יטעו בני אדם באלו הפעולות. Many times people fail, and in those actions of these, when they do an action for some of these midot, meaning thinking that they're doing something right when they're really doing something wrong. And they're going to think that to be extreme or to behave, based on a midah that is close to one of the extremities is good when it's really bad. Sometimes they think that one side, when the too much is good. A lot of people think that if you're able to take a lot of risks and intense risks, you're a gibor, right? And they are called giborim. And when you see somebody that's willing to take crazy risks, somebody that is putting his life in danger, and is almost, he can die, and he does it purposely, and sometimes he was just lucky to be saved. They're going to say, wow, look how big of a gibor that is. Right? That's when you see that the too much of one of the midah may be considered as good when it's really bad. And sometimes the opposite, when it's too little. They're going to think that the other side, the other extreme is good when it's not, it's in non-existent or very little. They're going to say about somebody that is like emotionally completely disconnected, that he's a savlan, he's patient. Or they're going to say about atzlan, a lazy. Look, he's look, he's content, he's satisfied. Look, he doesn't need anything. He doesn't need to go work. He doesn't need to make money. He's look sameach bechelko. When in reality, he's atzlan, he's lazy. And somebody that is emotionally disconnected from all the pleasures, okay, because he's heavy. Look at this guy, how he's careful not to eat too much and to be, and they're going to say, this guy's yirat chet. When in reality, it's not yirat chet. It's his nefesh, it's his heaviness that doesn't allow him to desire the desire that he should desire if he in the proper balance, in the proper medium. And those types of mistakes, יחשבו גם כן הפיזור ויתרון טוב הלב מן הפעולות הטובות. So too, when you see somebody that spends a lot, yes, and doesn't know how to value money, you can say, wow, this guy is a Baal Chesed. Look how good of a heart he has. וזה כולו טעות. It is all a big mistake. All these behaviors are bad.
It's so common.
ודאי, that's why he says most people are חולי הנפש. ואומנם ישובח באמת הממוצע, ואליו צריך לאדם שיכוון. What is the משובח? What is valuable? What is respected? What is validated? Is when the person is in the middle. ואליו צריך לאדם שיכוון. You have to always aim towards the middle. וישקול פעולותיו. Weigh your actions. All of them. All the time. עד שימצאהו. שיתמצאו. Until they become ממוצע. They become in the emsa, in the middle.
Like balance.
Balance. Look at the words that the Rambam uses. The Rambam is the Rishon, and we have an obligation to be medakdek in each word. He says like this, ואליו צריך לאדם שיכוון. You have to aim towards, yes, that good midah. What does that mean? That means you need to identify it in order to aim towards it. Yes? If you don't know what the good midah is, and you don't understand how it is applied practically, you cannot aim towards it. It's not possible. So first, in order to change a midah and to work on a midah, we need to understand what is the good midah in that spectrum. Number one. Number two, veishkol pe'ulotav. You have to weigh your actions. Meaning you have to evaluate your actions. When you behave, when you do an action, you need to understand, wait 1 second, where is that action coming from? Kulam, all of your actions. Tamid, at all time. So that you can start changing a midah. So the Rambam says here that if you want to change one midah, you're too soft, you're too lazy, you're too anxious, you're too angry, you're pazran, you're too cheap, whatever it is. Yes? Identify the two extremes so that now you can learn what is the balance. Once you know what the balance is, you learn about the balance. Okay? What does it mean to be yerechet? What does it mean to be tovlev? Yes? And how it applies. And now that you have that, all your behavior and your actions that relate to that trait of, if it's, let's say, tovlev, of tovlev, yes, you need to evaluate, you need to start zooming in and be analyzing all your actions all the time. Because it's through that analysis and that scrutiny for that specific trait that you're trying to fix, that you will be able, with the proper efforts, which we'll discuss, to change your midah and get to the medium that you're looking to accomplish.
So first we identify the two extremes, which allows us to find the middle. And then we move to a different level. We need to, if I understand correct, we need to examine like our motives and why. And we examine our motives, like
it's not the motive, it's the instinct force that pushes you when you do a trait, when you behave,
yes,
in that specific trait that you're trying to fix. Because you need to identify, am I too little or am I too much? In which extreme I'm closer to? The one that's too much or the one that's too little?
Is this called Yeshuv Adat? The goal of all of this is Yeshuv Adat is like, what is Yeshuv Adat? Does this have anything to do with Yeshuv Adat? Yeshuv Adat is like the...
Yeah, it depends. Yeshuv Adat. Yeah, Yeshuv Adat is when the da'at can be miyushav. What does it mean can be miyushav? You can allow your da'at to sit. You can allow your da'at to sink in your behavior. So ultimately the answer is yes. Because by fixing your midot, you are now a vessel, yes, that is healthy and strong and stable, which now allows your dot to express itself and become the important and major part of your action and reaction system.
Got it.
So yes, this is all prerequisites so that you can build a platform for the dot come and be mitiyashev. Because when you have Yeshuva dot, because you know that what you're doing based on your dot, you know that it's right. So even if the outcome is not what you want, but you know you did you behaved with that Torah, you behaved with the right dot. So the outcome will not surprise you or hurt you or destabilize you.
So this is relative. Identifying the extremes and finding the middle. It's relative to the person. There's no one principle. It's based on your life experience and.
Yes and no. We have the general definition of the actual midah,
Right.
and its extremes, and now you have to take that and apply it to you.
Yeah. Right.
Because the general extremes might not be your extremes.
Right.
And if they're not your extremes, then it's not your center.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Veda. And you should know, שאלו המעלות והפחיתויות, those good traits and those bad traits, those good midot and those bad midot, אשר למידות, that are the goods and the bad of those midot, לא יגיעו ולא יתיישבו בנפש. They cannot come and sink and become part of a nefesh, רק בכפול הפעולות הבאות מן המידה ההיא. Unless you repeat many times actions of that specific midah, פעמים רבות, many times, ובזמן ארוך, for a long period of time, והרגילות בהם, until you become used to it.
What ma'alot and pchituyot are we talking about?
The good midot and the bad midot. Meaning, you cannot develop a good midah and you cannot develop a bad midah unless you repeat actions for a long period of time of that specific midah in one specific direction. Which goes both ways, meaning it's not because you did something bad once that you're a bad person. The Yetzer Hara will make you think, look, you failed and you're a rasha. But that's not true. Okay, there was a tava that kicked in, or there was a reacted out of ka'as, or I was lazy that moment. But that doesn't make me a lazy person. That doesn't make me a kasan. Yes. But if you're kasan again and again and again and again for a long period of time, you become kasan. The same thing when it comes to midot tovot. When you do midot tovot, yes, if you want to fix a midah, you can only fix that midah by doing it, action of that specific midah in the middle, right? Again and again and again and again for a very long period of time until it becomes a behavior, until it becomes a regilut, until you are used to it. Once you're used to it, that's it. Now it can sit and become a midah that is yours, that you define yourself with. ואם היו הפעולות ההן טובות, יהיה מגיע לנו מהן מעלה. Now, if those actions that you do are good actions, and you write good with the definition of good of the Rambam, not of your definition of good, yeah. Then what? Then you're going to see that at the end, you're only going to benefit from it. You're going to grow from it. You're going to elevate yourself from it. But if the person behaves, right, and so this behavior bad, with the definition that we gave of the Rambam of what is bad, then you're only going to get hurt. You're going to end up being dragged down.
You can, no, understood.
No, please.
So whatever we familiarize ourselves with, and you can elevate yourself in one direction if you go in the right direction, or you can cause yourself to sink by repeatedly, naturally.
That's right. ומפני שאין אדם בטבעו בתחילת עניינו בעל מעלה ולא בעל חיסרון. And here comes the big yesod of the Rambam. The Rambam says nobody comes with bad midot or good midot. כמו שנבהר בפרק השמיני, like we're going to dive into in the 8th פרק. והוא ירגיל בלא ספק פעולות מקטנותו כפי מנהג קרוביו ואנשי ארצו. So he picks up good midot or bad midot based on his surrounding, his parents, his environment, social pressure, peer pressure. ואפשר שיהיו הפעולות ההן ממוצעות, ואפשר שיהיו מותרות או מחסרות. If he's lucky, yes, his behavior may be ממוצע, the behavior that he picks up at home is a behavior that is balanced, and then the person is lucky, or it could be intense too much, or it could be too little. כפי שסיפרנו, like we explained. ותהיה נפשו חולה. If it's too much or too little, he becomes sick. If that's the case, ראו שילכו ברפואתו כדרך רפואות הגופות בשווה. And if that's the case, then in order to fix your sickness spiritually and emotionally, apply the same approach that a doctor applies when he wants to cure a physical sickness. And he explained, כשם שהגוף כשיצא משיוויו נראה אל איזה צד נטה ויצא, when you see that the body, right, went out of balance, so you have to see, there's too much this, there's too little of that. You need to identify where there's too much protein in the body, or there's too little vitamins, or too little white blood pressures, right? You go to a doctor. The doctor does a blood work. Yes? The blood work comes back, and you have always next to each test that they did, yes, you have like a bracket between 0.8 to 1.2. If it's too little, if it's too much, it becomes red. Right? That's what he says. First, identify if there's too much or too little. Once you have identified, ונעמוד כנגדו בהפכו, עד שישוב על שיווי. You have too little of something, we need to give you the opposite, a little bit more, yeah? So that now we recreate a balance. You're lacking like sugar, we have to give you sugar. Your body produces too much hormones, we have to give you a suppressor. Yes? Until we get you back into that balance. And when you're back into balance, then once you're back into balance, you let go of the medication that was giving too much. Then now we strengthen and reinforces whatever medication or whatever is needed to create that balance, to solidify and stabilize that balance. Yes? That's how you do with the refuah. We apply the same logic and the same formula when it comes to fixing midot. And he gives a mashal. כשנראה אדם שהייתה לו תכונה בנפשו וחיסר בה נפשו מכל טובה לרוב הקלות. Let's say somebody is selfish to a point that he's not willing to even smile to anybody. Right? He's self-centered, he doesn't care about no one. וזו פחיתות מפחיתות הנפש. That's definitely a bad midah.
מה זה קילות?
קילות מלשון כליאה. To לכלות. Yes? To destroy. That empty, yeah?
Yeah.
והפועל אשר יעשהו מפעולות הרע, כמו שפעלנו בזה הפרק, right? So if a person is selfish, his behavior, his actions are going to be bad actions.
Self-destructive.
וכשנראה לרפאות זה החולי, and when we're trying to go and fix that מידה, לא נצווהו להרגיל בנדיבות. We're not going to tell him to, you have to be nadiv in the middle. No. שזהו כמו שירפא מי שיגבר עליו החום, בדבר הממוצע שווה. Because he would be thinking that somebody has a he has a high fever, and you tell him, you know what, just drink things that for 38 degrees, 35 to 37 degrees. That's not how you're going to solve the problem. You're never going to solve this his sickness, the issue of the fever. When somebody has fever, what do? You want to drop fever? He has to take a cold bath. Yeah. You have to start teaching that guy that is selfish to start being pazran, to start spreading and spraying and giving even if it's too much. ויכפול מעשה הפיזור, and he has to repeat that action פעם אחר פעם, פעמים רבות, over and over and over again for many times and for a long period of time. עד שתעשו מנפשו התכונה מחייבת לקילות, until that trait of selfishness, yes, and stinginess leaves his behavior, his essence, וקרוב להגיע לתכונת הפיזור. And now he's like, because he's almost רגיל, he's almost used to just spend like right and left without thinking. ואז, when we see that the הרגל is kicking in, this behavior is kicking in, נסלק פעולות הפיזור, we hold back, yes, the פיזור, ונצווהו להתמיד על פעולות הנדיבות. And now we bring him to start focusing on the מידת הנדיבות, which was what? Like we said, evaluate, balance, yes, identify, and now you're aiming towards the nidivut, towards the middle ground. וישקוד עליהם, and now you have to focus only on that. לא יותר ולא יחסר. Don't give too much, don't give too little. Give exactly based on the midah of nidivut, and that's how you become a nadiv.
Beautiful.
טוב, בעזרת השם נעמוד כאן, דף מ"ה. Now, the next paragraph is going to talk exactly about the opposite of what. Ezrat Hashem.
Ezrat Hashem. Tzom Mo'il, Tzom Kal, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
שהקדוש ברוך הוא יקבל תפילותינו ותשובתנו ברחמים, ויחתמנו בספרי חיים טובים, ספרי צדיקים וחסידים, ספרי פרנסה טובה, ספרי שמחה, ספרי מחילה וסליחה וכפרה בעזרת השם.
אמן.